and gentlemen, we got this gas-fired water heater. It's only about less than 2 years old, but we are noticing a discharge on this copper pipe that goes nowhere. Right now it's going to a bucket, but we have a little bit of discharge on this pipe. And this pipe is connected to the temperature and pressure relief valve on this gas-fired water heater. The purpose of this temperature and pressure relief valve is if there's a malfunction with the water heater where it overfires and we reach a certain temperature, right, which is 210 degrees, this valve is going to open, releasing that hazard. If there's too much pressure buildup, which is 150 psi, this relief valve is going to open. And the purpose of this drip leg, this copper pipe going to the floor, is to prevent any hazard or injury to anyone who may be standing in the area if that should open. Now, you may see on the internet, pictures of these water heaters taking off like a rocket, destroying the home and landing 2 miles away. Well, that's usually for, theatrics. But if you were to plug or remove this relief valve, right, and you deliberately make this water heater malfunction and it overheats or there's too much pressure, it will rupture, right? And if you're fortunate enough, it will take off like a rocket to the moon. If you're unfortunate, it will split and it will destroy the home and probably take people out if there's anyone in the home. Today, we have some discharge here on this fairly new water heater, and because of that, we're going to put one of these in. This is a domestic water thermal expansion tank. Inside the box, of course. This is manufactured by Amtrol. This is the model ST12. It comes pre-charged with a certain pressure, and it's normally 45 psi. We have to match the pressure of this tank with the house pressure. Now, what's fortunate for us is the customer already has a tank. The problem here is that this tank is full. No bueno. So we're going to replace this tank, put the new one in, make sure it's pre-charged to the right amount. So now you may be asking yourself, Mikey Pipes, I don't have a tank like this, but my water heater drip leg isn't dripping. Well, that's probably because you don't have one of these on your water main. Here's the incoming water service from the city supply. There's our water meter. This is called a backflow prevention device. This valve or this device allows water to only travel in one direction. In a closed system, which is what the hot water supply is, you have the possibility and you have the potential for pressure to build up. And that's the job of this tank, to absorb that pressure. And as you open up faucets or release the pressure, it's going to discharge itself back out to the closed system, right? There's an automatic diaphragm inside here that expands and contracts based on what kind of pressure it sees. This is bad. This is here. We need this. This is a code requirement. So we just need to change this tank. All right. The first step after shutting down the water and removing the existing expansion tank, or before we install one, is that we need to take a pressure reading of the domestic water in the home. So fortunately, during the process of installing a whole house water filter for this customer at this location with that backflow prevention device and that water main coming in, we added a pressure gauge. And you can see we have just around under 60 psi. I could safely say we have about 55 psi. So put that thought into your head, 55 psi. Write it down if you're going to forget. Here's our new Amtrol ST12. It has a pre-charge pressure of 50 psi. Now, we could just theoretically install this as it is right now. However, if we defer to the instructions, if we flip it over, a couple things to keep in mind. Pre-installation, with tank empty of water, adjust air pre-charge to match cold water supply pressure. Okay. It also says that mount vertically in downward position only. Okay. Ensure the tank is supported properly to hold the entire weight of the tank when filled with water, which means that you're not going to put it in upside down like this where you can't read the words, right? It wants it to install in that orientation. So first we're going to pre-charge the tank to match the supply pressure. We could do this with a bicycle pump, or in this case, we're going to use an inflator. So I have the expansion tank in the box just for stability. I took the plastic cap off, and now I got my inflator here, and we're going to thread that on. Okay. We're going to see that we actually have a 45.5 psi charge. 46. Let's turn this on. And let's pre-charge that to 55. All right, now that we're pre-charged to 55 psi, we're going to put the cap back on. Take this out of the box and throw some Teflon tape or PTFE tape on the threads. Now, the other part of the instructions were to make sure that the pipe is secured properly. Let's take a look at how they hung this before. We're going to see that they used some band iron. They even tried using a plastic conduit strap. Well, we're going to take this out and we're going to use a 3/4 copper strap and screw that to the beam right there. All right, there's that strap. So now we're good to hang the new expansion tank. All right, now that my expansion tank is properly hung in the right orientation, it's pre-charged, secured, I took a Sharpie, wrote the date on it, also wrote the date on my filter. The only thing left to do now is to slowly charge the system by opening the valve. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you fix the drip coming from your water heater relief valve. Even though you changed it before, sometimes you got to think outside the box and think about getting an expansion tank, especially if you have a backflow prevention device on your main water supply. It's a closed system. There's nowhere for that pressure to go. Do yourself a favor. Get yourself an amp troll. Make sure it's installed the right orientation. And if your plumber doesn't, tell them to call Mikey Pipes, 516-348-6300. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be well, God bless, stay safe.